welcome back to the best of Wedding Breakfast. Here on Wedding Breakfast, we've featured everything from snowy weddings in the middle of summer to a bunch of brides running around trying to get fit on their wedding day. Over the next half an hour, I'm going to be bringing you more of our juicy best bits. And in this first part, it's wedding venues. Everything from getting married in a grand old house to the church of your dreams. It seems everybody these days is looking for an alternative wedding venue. Castles, balloons, theme parks, and now you could even get married in one of Chelsea's most fashionable restaurants, the Bluebird. George Watts was sent along to their very swanky launch party.
We're always on the lookout for something a little bit different. So when we heard of the Bluebird restaurant here in central London, we simply had to check it out. What other wedding venue have you been to that started life as an Art Deco garage? Sue, our wedding planner from Smith & Merco. What is happening this evening?
We are having a fabulous little party at the Bluebird on the King's Road. And coming along are all our famous clients, guests, lovely suppliers, very high end. And just to show you a little bit of what we can do, we've set up a beautiful table.
Fantastic.
Do you want to come and see?
Come on. It looks absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
You must have had quite a stressful day.
Well, it's stressful because we're in the middle of wedding season at the minute.
Right.
But, you know, little parties like this, we can whip up at the whip of a hat easily.
Excellent. Now listen, take us through it. What was your inspiration for this evening?
Well, I like to use a lot of, at the moment, perspex and cut glass. Cut glass can be a little bit heavy, so say, for example, a beautiful crystal candlestick is quite slimming. It doesn't dominate the table. But if you can imagine this was in, say, a castle with lots of light coming through the windows, you can imagine all of this twinkling. And if you see the perspex boxes here, they can be quite contemporary, but if you mix them with some quite beautiful other glass settings, you can get a whole look. So if you were to walk into a room full of these, when you actually walk in, it looks like all the table centres are kind of suspended in midair.
I imagine it must cost buckets and buckets of cash to book you.
You're right.
Antoinette, welcome to Wedding Breakfast. Now listen, the party's kicking off behind us here. What's your role for this fantastic evening?
Well, my role is the sales manager for the Bluebird, so I look after our fantastic private dining rooms and our restaurant as a whole.
Now listen, I hear that the kind of the Bluebird was originally an Art Deco garage.
It was.
How did it transform into this fantastic venue?
I know, it's sort of morphed throughout the years, but originally it's always been a Chelsea landmark, so it was built as an Art Deco garage, and the history of the place is that Malcolm Campbell stored his Bluebird car and broke the world speed record here. So
really?
Yeah, absolutely. So it has a fantastic motorsport heritage, and Sir Terence Conran bought the complex 10 years ago because he fell in love with the architecture of the building.
Weddings. Have you hosted any weddings here as yet?
We do lots of weddings. We're only down the road from the Chelsea Registry Office, so we're literally a stroll up the King's Road, and we've got a fantastic outside courtyard, which is a great photo opportunity with a backdrop of the King's Road.
We're here with May from Maisie Fantasi.
I make bespoke cakes for my clients. They're all individually designed, and we work with it on a design basis. They come for consultation, and we design the best cake possible for their wedding.
I have two final questions for you, but they're very important. Are you ready for them?
Yes.
Okay, question number one.
Yes.
Have you ever dropped a cake?
I haven't.
Okay, question number two. What is your favourite flavour? Chocolate, vanilla or fruit?
Vanilla. Vanilla sponge with jam and buttercream. You can't go wrong.
That sounds good. Now we're joined by Andy from Wild About Flowers. And guess what, viewers? You're Wild About Flowers. Now listen, Andy, thank you so much for joining us on Wedding Breakfast. Now, when it comes to the flowers, where exactly do we start?
For me, whenever I entertain doing a wedding, I meet a bride or a client, you know, the first thing is to come and view the room, you know, and once I've viewed the room, my first thoughts with this room was it's quite vintage, it's very classic, and I wanted to reflect that with the colours that we've used. For me, a wedding table isn't just about a colourful display of flowers in the middle, it's about creating an overall look. And to do that, you know, I need to use glass, I need to use crystal with the candles, you know, and as you can see, it looks elegant, it looks quite vintage, but it's also got a modern twist.
If you had to name your favourite bud what would it be and why?
My personal favourite flower for bridal work itself would be Lily of the Valley. I think it's classic, it's beautiful, it's stylish, and it's heavenly scented. And I think for venue flowers, it's got to be a calla lily. Again in white, but I just love them.
And the most important part of any wedding breakfast is, of course, to make sure that you have a good time. So, if you can't beat them, make sure you join them. Cheers!
Yeah, cheers, George. He did get some good tips, though, and it's amazing who he meets at these launch parties. Now, from hustle and bustle in Chelsea to somewhere a little bit more peaceful, a house with more than its fair share of grandeur. Danson House in Kent.
With so many options available, how does a couple make the right choice when it comes to the wedding venue? From magnificent marquees to hospitable hotels. And then, of course, there's this. I'm here with Lorraine from Danson House for a serious splash of inspiration. Lorraine, thank you so much for joining us today on Wedding Breakfast. Now, first of all, I wanted to ask, I understand the house was originally built in 1766. Has it always been a wedding venue?
No, we've only been open to the public for the last 3 years, and this is our third year, obviously, of having weddings here.
Now, some people might be watching today thinking this is a beautiful venue, but it's completely out of their reach. Do you have different packages for varying budgets?
We do. The Friday weddings are slightly cheaper than the ones on the Saturday, and also we just do a civil wedding here. They don't have to have the marquee and have their reception in the grounds. They can just have literally the wedding, the ceremony, and then take their photographs and go away. So it does sort of suit most people's budgets, yes.
So a little bit of pick and mix.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, listen, we're here. I think I'm kind of ready for a tour. Shall we?
Fine, yes, thank you.
Fantastic. Wow, this staircase is amazing.
Yes, it's lovely. This isn't where our guests would actually come in on their wedding day, though. They'd come in on the entrance hall floor, which is just here. This is the entrance hall. This is where the bride and the groom and the family and guests will come into. So from here, we will take them round to the room of their choice that they've chosen for their wedding day.
It's so peaceful.
Yeah, it's a very serene house. It makes you feel very, at ease whilst you're here. If we start with the library.
Fantastic. Feels like Cluedo. Excellent. So this is the library.
This is the library. And just behind you, you have the very large organ that was built for this room.
I say, it is a big organ.
It is.
Behave.
Yeah, I know. What's any more?
Now listen, I have to ask, are all these books real?
No, a lot of them are faux books, but the ones that are real are actually Czechoslovakian or Swedish or something like that. So you can't read them unless you're Czechoslovakian or Swedish.
And more importantly, is there a swivelling door into another world?
No.
Damn. Or just after a few drinks at the staff party.
Yeah, maybe then.
So listen, what happens here? Is this a space that sort of guests come to before the ceremony?
They can do, or they could even rent this room out. So if they wanted to have their wedding in here, they can. And we'd hold up to 65 people in this room, and all the guests would be looking out onto the grounds where you can have the marquee as your reception as well.
Fantastic. Wow. This is amazing.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's very regal.
It's funny you should say that, because the Queen was at Danson House and she officially opened it in July 2005, and she used the rooms on this floor.
Very fitting for Her Majesty.
Yes, definitely.
Excellent. Now, what would happen in this actual room?
Day to day, we're open to the public on a Wednesday, Thursday and Sunday, and then we also have the weddings here on Saturdays and Fridays. If you're having a wedding in this room, it holds up to about 50 people, and you can sort of arrange it so you're looking out onto the lake.
So a little bit more intimate.
Yes.
So you've got something to suit, varying budgets.
Yes, I mean, Linda would be the lady to talk to. She will send you a wedding pack out, and that gives you all the details in there, and she'd coordinate everything for you.
Excellent. And I have to say, it's very gold. Gorgeous gold.
Lots of gold.
Old school bling.
Oh, definitely that. Very old school.
Into the next room. Gosh, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, it's a lovely room.
So what actually happens in this space?
Right, OK, this space can also be rented out to have your civil marriaging, and it would take up to 65 people, so it's another large room again to hire out for your 2 hours.
And does this also doubles up as a dining room space, is that right?
Yes. If you wanted to have an anniversary party or a special occasion here, we wouldn't have your reception from the wedding in this house, but you could actually have, you know, a special dinner, and it'll be set out in the dining room for you.
So obviously I can imagine you'd have the table swooping through the middle, all laid up, looking gorgeous.
Yes, you would do. You couldn't actually have your wedding reception here, but you could certainly hire out the room for a function like an anniversary party or somebody's 60th birthday, and Linda would send you sort of like different versions of what she would be able to do.
Well, Lorraine, I have to say, with love in mind, I was wondering, would you like to join me for a final dance?
Well, why not, George?
Listen, I've always wanted to dance in a stately home,
Right.
John Travolta style. Well, no, let's waltz. We'll waltz. Ready?
Okay.
Perfect. I can't dance though. Right, okay, I'll try and lead. Ready?
Well, go on then.
Okay.
I'll follow you.
Oh, and do you know what? I had dance classes yesterday. That was hopeless.
You did better than me. I'm trying to look at your feet.
I don't think much of your dad dancing, George. It looks like you've got your two left feet out again, but I suppose there could be a lot of that at a wedding reception. Thanks to everybody at Dancing House. And if you're looking for more inspiration on wedding venues, then head on over to our website, weddingtv.com. Now, perhaps your dream wedding has got to be in a very specific church, but what if you're not allowed to get married there? The good news is that the Church of England is changing its rules, so you might just be able to get married in the church of your dreams. Watch this feature to find out a little bit more. If you've spent your whole life dreaming about the perfect wedding, the chances are that the perfect church is going to be part of the package. But what if you don't live in that parish? Can you still get married there? In July this year, the Church of England issued a press release to say that the rules might just be about to change. So we're joined by Canon Michael Ainsworth, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the do's and don'ts of getting married in your dream church.
As things stand at present, in the Church of England, you have a legal right to marry in the parish where you live at the time of the wedding, where either or both of you live, or a parish church where either or both of you is on the church's electoral roll, which is a list of people who attend church there and have done so for at least 6 months. What it will mean is you still have a right to be married in the church where you live or a church where you're on the electoral roll and worship. And lots of couples do that as part of their preparation for getting married. They'll attend the church even if they don't live in that parish. But also you'll be able to get married in a church where you've had a connection in the past but no longer have. Like if you were baptized in that church, confirmed from that church, if you've lived in that parish in the past, or if your parents have lived in that parish in the past for at least 6 months, or if your parents or grandparents were married in that church. Those are the qualifying connections which will be added to the present ones.
And are these changing of rules specific to the Church of England?
Marriage law in Scotland is different.
Okay.
It's slightly different in Wales and in Ireland too. And in other churches, in other denominations, the rules are different.
Okay.
So we're just talking here about Church of England parish churches. In my last church, where we had about 75 weddings every year, because it was a beautiful church and also near reception venues, we never ever turned anyone away. All those couples qualified by attending the church and being on the electoral roll. This just changes the qualifying system, I think. So I'm not afraid that there'll be a great flood of weddings in some churches and none at all in others. There are some who say, well, why don't we just have a free-for-all? What we're trying to say is that marriage is an event in the community. So by all means widen the choice of churches, but make it a church where there is some genuine connection. I think it's hopefully going to show that the church is keen for people to marry in church and be welcoming to them and to make it a bit easier. Whether it will significantly affect the number of people who marry in church, I don't know. So if couples want to go to a church where they have one of these qualifying connections and make inquiries, they can begin to do that, and the clergy there should know what the position is and when this is going to finally take effect. We hope it will take effect within a year or so. It's a much needed simplification of the system.
Thanks to Canon Michael Ainsworth for clearing up the details of the rule changes. It's certainly going to make it a little bit easier to find the venue of your choice. And from wedding venues to what happens after the big day. Yes, after this, we're going to be off on honeymoon with this year's hottest destinations. Plus, we look at alternative wedding destinations in Spain and the Middle East. So don't forget your passport. More after the break. Welcome back to the best of wedding breakfast. It's time now for the honeymoon. Yes, it is probably the most important holiday of your life, so getting the destination right is crucial. George caught up with Wedding Magazine's honeymoon expert, Victoria Sullivan.
After all the stresses and traumas of the big day, it's time for you to sit down, relax, unwind and enjoy yourself. Yes, it's the honeymoon. And I'm here to meet a very special lady who has some seriously hot tips for us. So, let's talk honeymoon. Where should a couple start?
Well, I think the honeymoon is probably the most exciting and fun decision to make when planning your big day. I think you really need to sit down and think really hard about what you both enjoy.
Now, personally, I like to relax and get away from the real world. Where would you recommend?
Well, for the most relaxation, I definitely say that you should go to the Maldives. It is pure paradise. And, you know, if you just want to sit back, relax, chill out and do nothing, that is the best possible place for you to go.
But a honeymoon doesn't have to be just about sea and sand, does it?
Absolutely not. You can do twin centre honeymoons, which is a great way of relaxing on a beach for a week and then going on safari. Or if you're really adventurous, spend the whole time on safari. I mean, Richard Branson's is an absolutely brilliant place to go to, Ulu Saba in South Africa, where it's a private game resort, and it is the most exciting place you could possibly go.
Some of us like to party hard and enjoy the nightlife. Where do we go for that kind of honeymoon?
Well, I'd always recommend the Caribbean. Paradise beaches. Antigua is a particular favourite of mine. It's got 365 beaches, so one for every day of the year. And also, it's got so much entertainment and there's live music, and it's just such a great place to go.
Now, obviously, cost has come into this. How do we create something spectacular on a budget?
Well, I think if you've got a tight budget, there's so many different things you can do. You can go closer to home, so you go for a European destination. You could go to somewhere like Italy, and actually, otherwise, you could then save some money and go a bit later on. There's no reason why you have to run away on honeymoon the day after your wedding.
So, what are the top tips for a perfect honeymoon?
Well, my first top tip is to read Wedding Magazine because we cover honeymoons in a great way, and also we offer something for everyone in the magazine. Secondly, internet is a great source. It's also a great source of first-hand information from various people that have written about honeymoons that they've been on. Otherwise, always ask friends, family, those that have been on honeymoons, and you can get a great idea from them.
Oh, that makes me want to jet off right away. And speaking of sunnier climes, we went along to a shop in Barcelona called Buy earlier this year. It is the world's first gay wedding shop. Everything you need for the groom and groom.
This is the official opening of the first gay formal wear store. Please come in and join us and see what we have inside. Well, the concept is to give the opportunity for guys to have the same possibilities as women used to have till now, which is have a special outfit, special suit for their ceremony or for their wedding. So here we're in the clothing part of the store. Here we have the shirts at the beginning. Here we have all the different designs. Afterwards we can pick the different fabrics you can make the shirts from. Well, the idea started when the gay couple law got approved here in Spain, and we saw the opportunity and the need to give this service to the couples. The main difference is that couples can come in here. They don't have to explain their situations. They can feel comfortable. After looking at the clothing section of the shop, we've come to the jewelry part. So what we're trying to do here is have some different options of to show the compromise between the couple. So we have the rings, the traditional rings. We have a ring you can wear around your neck, or we have cufflinks and bracelets that you can give your significant other, and you don't need to have the official ring if you don't want to wear it. We have it. We can do it in yellow gold, white gold, and also if you want, we have the silver, platinum stuff. Well, like I told you, everything here is designed, and it's made specifically for the person who orders it. It's amazing for me, all the media that came today, and I think it's surprising for them, but it's something that, when you think about it, is so natural and so common. I think the thing that makes it so special is that it's a simple idea that everybody goes like, oh, why didn't anybody think about it before? So I think that's what makes it so big. Here we have the ties, neckties, gloves, and different accessories that will complement your outfit. And then, at last, what we have is some couple stuff that if you want to give something to a couple or to a friend that is getting married or has a special date, we have some boxer shorts, we have pajamas, we have a bathrobe, we have embroidered sheets, and everything. The main purpose of all of this is that you can have a small something for a special person. Well, I hope that the concept is accepted by our customers, and I hope that we can open a lot of shops in Spain and around the world, and have a good time while doing it.
Thanks to Santiago. Interesting stuff there. And if he gets his dream, there may be another shop just like that one opening near you very soon. Don't worry, our jet setting is not over just yet, because next up we're about to take a look at a lavish Middle Eastern wedding. Not only an incredible wedding, but an amazing wedding video. Thanks for joining me on the Best of Wedding Breakfast, and don't forget to keep watching us here on Wedding TV. Bye-bye.
نسا عفاف، أنت راضية بالزواج من السيد باسم محمد حبيبي؟
She's going to be my wife. I love her. I love her so much.